Okay, the second part of what you need to know today is about the variables. We have what we call independent and dependent variables. So, again, we're going to go back to this graphing the quadrant 1. This is quadrant 1. Everything in here is positive. All my numbers are positive. All my numbers are positive. That means I'm in quadrant 1. And I'm going to go ahead and label my x and y axis because that is super important right now. Okay? So, we talked about how when you plot points, we are going to plot. There's a point here that's hard to see. I'll just redo all these. And I'm going to go ahead and plot all of these points. Now, when I did it on the last video, I used 1 as my unit, but this one goes up by 5, so be very careful. Don't just count the lines when it gives you numbers. So this one is at 5 as my x value and 10 as my y value. This one is at 10 as my x value and 20 as my y. 15 and it goes 15 and 30. Okay, so that's all I'm going to do for now. What you need to know is that my x values are called my dependent quantities or dependent values. And if you have trouble, hang on real quick, let's back up. And then my y values are called, oh I'm sorry, these are my independent. And my y values are my dependent values. If you have trouble remembering that, x is independent, meaning it can stand on its own because it has 2 legs. Y is dependent on whatever is happening to x because it requires what we're doing to x. So, and if you remember, what we talked about is we have that equation we're using, y equals, and then m times x, or y equals m plus b, and next year you will combine those two and you will get the y equals mx plus b that we talked about. I'm going to go ahead and make a table with this information. And if you remember, I told you that the x value always goes on the left and the y value always goes on the right. So I'm going to start here, and I have 5 and 10. 10 and 20, 15 and 30. And then we want to look at our process. How do I get from x to y? What am I doing to x to get my y value? Am I adding? Am I multiplying? 5 times 2 is 10. Let's see if that works. Now, 5 plus 5 is also 10, so we need to figure out which one it is. 10 plus 5 is not 20, but 10 times 2 is. 15 plus 5 is not 15, is not 30, but 15 times 2 is. So our equation then is y equals 2 times our x value. Again, this is the third time we've seen that. Which means that the label, what label best describes our dependent quality, our y values are dependent, so the amount of the bill, so the money, is the dependent label. The independent label is going to be the number of texts. Okay? And they've done the same, they have done a table down here, and it's the same information, but we're going to look at it again. So 2 plus 2 is 4, okay, could be that. 2 times 2 is 4, could be that too. 3 plus 2 is not 6. 3 times 2 is 6, so we're going to start with times 2. And we're going to make sure that it works for everything. 4 times 2 is 8. 5 times 2 is 10. It does. So my y value is equal to 2 times my x value. That should be enough information for you to continue on in this packet and work on this page and keep working. You are always welcome to ask me questions. And yeah. So go ahead and get started on this page, and if you finish this, then talk to me and we'll figure out what's next.